Hey y'all, what is good? You probably noticed we're in a little bit different background. I am back in my dorm. Yes, I still live in a dorm, part of that dorm life, but it's totally okay. I embrace it 100%. Today we're gonna go a little bit. We're gonna talk about like a little bit of a different topic than what I have traditionally talked about. We're gonna discuss tattoos. I have four. One, two, three, and then I have one on my thigh. So I do have a little bit of experience. I just want to speak on tips, things to consider if you want to get a tattoo. Things you need to think about before you go. Just like different things when you're at the shop, after you get it. Just like tips in general. So the first tip I have for you if you're finna get a tattoo is to actually do your research. I feel like this term is always scary, but it's super easy to research. A tattoo artist, basically go to Google, search tattoo shops near me, and then you can look at different websites, search artist portfolios, look at them on Instagram, literally stalk their Instagram page and see if you like the kind of art they create. Try to find somebody that is good at the specific kind of tattoo you want, whether it's like written word, a type of if they like do plants, or if they do animals, if they do like portraits. Like try to find somebody that does a lot of that kind of stuff, so you know that their work is going to be reliable. I would also say read reviews at the shop. There's a lot that can be said about the way you're treated at a tattoo parlor. It's a pretty personal experience, or it can be depending on what kind of tattoo you get. So were people comfortable there? Was the place clean? Was everything sanitized? Was everything sterilized and prepackaged? That kind of thing. I've had very, very, very different experiences in the tattoo shops that I've been to. So for my first three tattoos, I got these three done by the same dude, Zach. He was dope. And then my last tattoo on my thigh, it was a very different experience. So the first three tattoos I have, everything was very, very professional. The shop was very clean, pristine. They were very professional in regards to being on time. Everything was set up professionally. It was just a very positive experience in that regard. Like I was like, I trust these people. For my tattoo on my thigh, I'ma just say this. This dude was young and very inexperienced in the business realm, but he had talent. So he had a lot to learn. Not to talk shit, but like, because I appreciate, like I like my tattoo and I'm glad I went and got it there. But literally me and my friend pulled up, and one, we didn't even know it was a tattoo shop because he had no signs. It was like an older building. There was like no advertisement. Two, we walk in, open the door, and dude is asleep on his tattoo chair. And so we're like, what the fuck? Like, what do we do? Because like we came with the exact time of our appointment. So we end up staying in the area, and like dude calls us back like, oh, I'm so sorry, like were you guys the people, because we tried to call him. He was like, oh, like did you guys have an appointment at like 2 or whatever? And we're like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, like could y'all come in like 10-15 minutes, like I got you. And we're like, yeah, whatever. So we pull up again, and this is where like professionalism comes into place, and like you have to know who your clients are. But like dude had a whole blunt in his hands like when we walked in. And like me and my friend like didn't care, but I'm sitting here like, if an actual like grown like professional person like walked into that, like that could be detrimental to like his business. So like anyway, the tattoo ended up like going really, really well. I really like it. So that part was fine. So like I guess it depends on what you're comfortable with. If you're comfortable with going to like a pretty like new semi-professional artists, as long as their shit's clean. Like dude cleaned everything. I wasn't worried about that aspect, but as a business it wasn't professional. So I guess it depends on what you're okay with. That's what I'm gonna say about that. Second thing that I have to say is pricing. Some people, I'm gonna be blunt, Some people like to complain about how much tattoos cost, yet they go spend half a G on an outfit. Like, you finna have this tattoo for the rest of your life, but you're gonna go buy an outfit for however much money you want to spend. You're gonna buy $300 shoes that like gonna get dirty and gonna like wear out eventually, but you won't spend 250, 300 on a tattoo that's gonna last the rest of your life and actually like look dope and add art to your body. Like, don't complain about the pricing. Like, if you actually want something decent, you shouldn't have to pay like a good chunk of money. Some places charge by hour. I've seen people charge like $100 to $200 per hour depending on the shop. A lot of places have mandatory minimums. Some places, I know, like the first place I got my tattoo was like, regardless of what you got, you had to pay at least $60. Like, that was just like their flat rate. So let's say I wanted to get like a dot. Like, people get like those little periods, like semicolons or whatever. Like, that would cost at least $60. Just like that's like their minimum. Some places are 80, I've heard of. So like, making sure you're doing your research on like what it's gonna cost, and like don't bitch about the cost because they're already telling you what it is up front. And if you don't like it, then go somewhere else or do a stick and poke for all I care. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't complain. That's like their job and their livelihood. So like, if you can't afford it, then get your bread up, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. Going off pricing, tip your tattoo artist. Like, they are doing you a service. It's the same as like going to a restaurant. If you can't tip your waiter 20%, you can't afford to eat out. If you can't tip your tattoo artist 10 to 20%, you can't afford to get that tattoo. Like, that extra $20 to $50 tip, like, they're doing you a service, and depending on where your tattoo is, it can be a very personal experience. And if they make you feel good, they make you feel comfortable, it's a positive time for you, then like, yeah, like, why wouldn't you tip them? You know what I'm saying? The third thing to think about is the actual design. This is people have very different opinions on this. Like, some people are very like, if you get a tattoo, make sure it means something to you. Make sure you're passionate about it, and like it says something about you. No. If you think it looks cool, get it. You know, like, it doesn't have to be that serious. But take into consideration how it may impact your future. Like, don't get a tattoo that could impact your ability to get a job. You know what I'm saying? So be cautious about that, and make sure it's not something you're gonna regret. Like, think long term, because that shit is permanent. And you know what I'm saying? Just like, think for at least 5 minutes about either the consequences or how you may feel in the future about it. Like, put some thought into it. That's what I recommend. But if you really don't care, then do you. The next thing I want to talk about is pain. This is always brought up. The pain charts, if you look up like tattoo pain chart, I would say it's pretty accurate. Me personally, so the one that I have right here around my forearm, it hurts more in the inner part of your forearm where the more sensitive skin is than it does on the outside. Anywhere where it's bony, so up here would hurt really bad. Ribs, obviously. Look at a tattoo pain chart. Like, everyone's pain tolerance is different. My shoulder didn't hurt at all. That shit, I was taking that like a champ. That shit was okay. Like, it was nothing. On my inner thigh, the closer you get to like the inner thigh, that's obviously more sensitive, so that hurt more. I've never cried, but that one I was definitely sweating. So I recommend like bringing a stress ball or bringing something to like occupy your hands. Like, I know that I was like clenching the seat. I would say bring a stress ball if you're worried about that, because that's like a really easy way to take your mind off of it. Also, going off the design, you need to like plan your design for your skin. So like, let's say you want a rose or a lion or anything with like shading. You're gonna have to take into consideration like how light or dark you want the shading. So obviously, like, I have very, very light skin. I wouldn't need very dark shading to get the shading effect that I want. If you have a darker skin complexion, you're gonna need like darker shading to get the same kind of effect that it would be on my skin. So like, make sure you're like, if you're gonna show the tattoo artist a tattoo that you want, make sure you show them a picture of that, like, of the design you want on like a model or on a person that has the same or very similar skin complexion to you. Just keep that in mind. Another tip that I have is to like time it right. Do not get a tattoo before you go on vacation to like Mexico or some shit. Like, one, you gotta keep it out of the sun for a decent amount of weeks. Two, you can't submerge it, so you can't swim, you can't bathe. So as much as you might want to like get a tattoo and show off in Miami, wherever you are, and try to like look hot or whatever, but that's dumb. Like, just like, you know what I'm saying, get a tattoo, make sure you're not gonna go anywhere, make sure you're not gonna be swimming in the sun, doing anything to like rub it or irritate it. Just plan it right and time it out right, so like you mitigate any problems that could arise in the future. Okay, another tip I would say, if you're getting any tattoos like on your arms or on your legs, like try to avoid wearing clothing that like directly would affect that. Like, let's say I got a sleeve, right? Try to avoid wearing long sleeves because it's gonna make it itch even more. And that goes to my second point of don't itch your tattoos and don't peel it. A lot of times when you're getting tattoos, your skin is being penetrated by needles, so it's gonna have to heal. So when it does heal, a lot of times it'll scab over. It's not gonna scar over, but it'll scab over, and your skin is gonna start to peel because it's being replaced by the skin with the ink in it. So it's gonna itch. It's gonna peel. Do not scratch that shit. You can slap it. That helps a lot. Just slap it. Don't peel it. Don't scratch it. That's gonna make it worse, and you might affect the way the tattoo looks. So it's not worth it. So just be mindful about the clothing you're wearing. Try not to irritate it the first couple weeks that you get it. Finally, the last thing that I want to say is regarding aftercare. A big red flag that I would say is your tattoo's done and the artist does not wrap it up. Make sure your artist wraps your tattoo up. What they're gonna do is they're gonna tattoo you. They're probably gonna put some either Vaseline, or they have sometimes little like you see the videos where they spray the tattoo and they wipe it off with a napkin. It looks all smooth and stuff. Like, they're gonna do that to clean off any dead skin, any blood, and then they should wrap it up with like a saran wrap, or I know I've had like gauze and then like tape. And this is to protect the ink, to protect your skin, because obviously it was just being pierced by needles for however many hours you were getting it done. And also it's to avoid any damage to the tattoo. Like, I had heard a story of a lady that had gotten a tattoo and it wasn't wrapped up, and she'd ended up like bumping it on her steering wheel, and it caused her entire ink to just like spread and smear. And so like she spent however much time and however much money on that tattoo, and it got fucked up in the first like 10 minutes. Like, I'd be mad. So it's like, make sure that they're taking the precautions to avoid stuff like that, and to just like help your tattoo like heal them like the least amount of time and heal the right way, so you don't have any issues in the future. Final little bonus tip, a lot of tattoo artists will give free touch-ups. I know for my tattoos, for these three, if I came back within a year of getting my tattoo, he would give me free touch-ups. So like refilling the font, redefining the lines, you know what I'm saying, just like making sure it looks tip-top so it can be sustained for a longer period of time. So don't be afraid to ask about that. That is all for this video. I hope you learned something about getting a tattoo, made you think about something new if you're about to get one. I hope it helped you out in deciding what you're gonna do. Feel free to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll catch y'all later.